All right, my sweet, sweet English 8 seniors, I am going to talk to you about your last assignment for your senior year English. The very last thing that you need to do is choose your own piece of literature and analyze it using the lenses that we've learned so far in class and your personal lens. So, I just made an executive decision that since we're on quarantine, I'm also going to allow you to choose a movie, documentary, a show, something that you visually consume to use and analyze, since I know that a lot of you guys are going to be binge watching things, and I support that, especially during quarantine. So what you're going to do is you're going to choose your own piece that you want to analyze. And you are going to write an essay where you have one paragraph for each of the 4 lenses: feminism, Marxism, psychoanalytic, and archetype, and then one extra paragraph where you talk about how your personal lens develops your understanding of this story. Okay, so let me give you an example. Maybe let's pick something that everybody kind of knows, and let's talk about Cinderella. So I choose Cinderella as the one that I'm going to do for my story. I watch the movie and I say, in my intro, Cinderella is best understood by using multiple different lenses to analyze the characters and the plot action. Using different analytical lenses, I can tell that Cinderella has a deeper meaning than we generally consider it to have. Okay, so first paragraph, you're going to talk about the feminist lens. Obviously, that's pretty easy with Cinderella. She has to have a husband to be anything in life. She can go from poor to rich overnight if she gets to marry the prince. Because she's pretty, she has a chance to marry the prince. The prince is weirdly expected to just want to get married. And his parents throw him a ball to find a wife. That's kind of a weird thing. So you could do something like that. Talk about any piece of gender roles. You guys did a pretty good job with this. I think you understand it well. Second paragraph, you're going to talk about Marxism. So maybe for Cinderella, I would talk about the fact that as soon as her dad dies, she is poor. And she suddenly doesn't have any money, and she has to do hard labor for her siblings and her stepmom, and how that creates no avenue of escape for her. So she is stuck having to escape through marriage. Then you're going to talk about your psychoanalytical piece. Maybe for Cinderella, I'm talking about something like she loses her parents early in her life, and it kind of stunts her to be childlike. So she is still at a stage where she's talking with little animals, and she's walking around in sing-songy voice, even though she's doing hard labor. So maybe I talk about her trauma. Maybe I talk about something that has to do with her Erikson stages of development. Maybe I talk about Maslow's hierarchy of needs, and I say because she doesn't have her basic human needs met, she can't begin to be reflective of her trauma because she's still trying to find a place to sleep because her stepmom's mean to her. Maybe I talk about what the hell happened in the stepmom's life that made her crazy and made her so mean to this little kid. Then you are going to go on to your next one, which is your archetype. Obviously, this is pretty easy for Cinderella. We literally know nothing about the prince except for that he's the hero, the handsome prince, the savior. Cinderella obviously falls into that archetype of damsel in distress. The storyline of poverty to riches, that's a common archetypical storyline. The falling in love despite being star-crossed, that's a really good, you could use that as your archetypical storyline. But just one point that shows that you understand the archetype lens. Sorry. And that's basically what you do. Then you're going to use your last lens. So when I say your personal lens, I mean, how have your life experiences shaped your understanding of this text? So for me, if I'm doing Cinderella, maybe I'm talking about the fact that I don't know, grew up in the United States, in Colorado. I have this understanding of, like what family should be and how my understanding of family is challenged by this because it seems like very problematic that the stepmom would treat her this way. Maybe you have a life experience where this like mirrors what your life was like. Maybe you have a life experience where you can like bring in some critical race theory and you can talk about like how this would be different if Cinderella were from a different culture. Maybe you could even look at all of the different Cinderella stories that have been done in other cultures, in other races, or ethnicities, and talk about like how it's different. And you could talk about how the one that mirrors your family life has a very different storyline. Things like this. So your personal lens is what in your life has given you a unique perspective on this story. Something that someone else wouldn't think about. So could be any number of things. If you're having trouble with this, reach out and you and I can talk through it and we'll make sure that you get something that's good and good quality. Again, probably the best way to do this, share it on Google Docs. I can like edit it right there with you. We can get on Google Docs together while we're on the phone and I can talk you through my edits. Whatever's helpful for you guys. This is your last assignment and I hope it's fun. Like I think the fact that you get to pick whatever you want to analyze should make it a little bit more fun. But comment with questions or reach out with questions and I will talk to you guys soon.